These gardeners have mastered one of the most vital skills on earth, yet most people know almost nothing about it. But now, more and more are turning to gardening, and not just for food, but for a healthier, happier life. Valuable knowledge that could bring your family abundant, healthy food and change your life is out there on YouTube. But how to find the right gardening channels? With hundreds of thousands of videos, clickbaits, products, and tips that don't work in real gardens, it's easy to get lost and waste precious time and resources. Today, we're diving into the fascinating world of American gardeners, on a mission to uncover who the best gardeners are and the secrets behind their incredibly abundant harvests. How much space do you really need to grow your own food? How much can a single garden produce? And how much time does it take to reach those stunning harvests? To find out, we explored YouTube for months and selected a panel of some of the most outstanding American gardeners, each thriving in a different environment. Luke and his father Dan and their world record garden in the warm summer Mediterranean climate of southeastern Washington. Alethea and her inspiring raised bed garden in Kentucky's humid subtropical climate. Peter and Hilary and their dream garden in the humid continental climate of Ohio. And Kara and her incredible desert garden in the hot, semi-arid climate of the Arizona desert. Let's start our quest in the high desert of southeastern Washington, where Dan and his son Luke grow fruits and vegetables to feed their large, multi-generational family. On their YouTube channel, Organic Gardening, Homesteading and Woodworking, they take us inside Dan's impressive garden, measuring about 9,000 square feet. By gardening standards, this is considered a large garden. But how much space do you really need to grow your own food? According to the North Carolina State University Extension, for a family of 4, an area of 1,050 square feet should be adequate to supply most produce needs during the growing season. Historically, in the UK, standard allotment plots measured 2,500 square feet, large enough to feed a family of 4 year-round, yet still small enough to remain affordable and manageable. Based on these benchmarks, the typical range for a family of 4 falls between 1,000 and 2,500 square feet. Back in the fertile rolling plains of Kentucky, Alethea grows vegetables, fruits, and herbs for her family of 3. On her YouTube channel, GroLeafy with Alethea, she welcomes us into her lush 2,000 square foot garden. Alethea and her husband live on a relatively large property, about 3/4 of an acre, but since both work full-time, they intentionally keep the garden limited to a small, manageable portion. On this topic, the Iowa State University Extension recommends starting with just 100 square feet, 10 by 10 feet, to avoid the common mistake of starting too large. In fact, high-quality vegetables often come from small, well-cared-for plots, rather than large, neglected ones. A little farther north, in Ohio, Peter, Hilary, and their 4 children have built the vegetable garden of their dreams. On their YouTube channel, The Garden Family, they share breathtaking footage of their 7,000 square foot garden. Would a garden like this fit into a typical American yard? Surprisingly, yes. Although it looks vast, it is actually close to the average U.S. lawn size, estimated at around 5,800 square feet, according to researcher Tracy Fuentes. In fact, American lawns collectively cover about 40 million acres, as noted by researcher Christina Milesi. That's enough space to fit nearly 250 million gardens of this size. Now let's head to the southern desert of Arizona, where Kara has cultivated a thriving garden in one of the harshest climates in the country. On her YouTube channel, Sow Arizona, she shares thoughtful, hands-on videos from her 10,000 square foot garden, where crops are carefully concentrated into a few well-planned, high-efficiency beds. Kara's success proves that smart design and technique matter more than the size of the garden. In arid climates, the Utah State University Extension recommends growing crops in just 25 to 40% of the yard, while keeping the remaining space, such as pathways and surrounding areas, heavily mulched to retain moisture and support healthy soil life. Let's go back to the American Midwest in Ohio, where Peter, Hilary, and their children enjoy bountiful harvests from the vegetable garden of their dreams. On their YouTube channel, The Garden Family, we watch them gather impressive amounts of tomatoes, onions, zucchinis, broccoli, and much more. But just how much can a single garden produce? According to researcher Christine Porter from the University of Wyoming, the average garden yields between 0.5 and 2 pounds per square foot. Even using the most conservative estimate, a small garden with 500 planted square feet can produce around 250 pounds of fruits and vegetables per year. Across the state line on the rolling hills of Kentucky, Alethea also grows a wide variety of vegetables, fruits, and herbs to feed her family of 3. On her YouTube channel, GroLeafy with Alethea, we see her joyfully harvesting onions, squash, watermelons, and kohlrabi, ingredients she turns into vibrant, home-cooked family meals. According to the North Carolina State University Extension, gardeners typically boost yields by adding compost and mulch, choosing high-yield crops like tomatoes, onions, potatoes, squash, zucchinis, cucumbers, and peppers, and using vertical structures such as trellises or cages. Other techniques to increase yield include installing drip irrigation, succession planting, and using row covers to extend the growing season. Back north, nestled at the base of the Blue Mountains, Dan and his son Luke harvest bucketfuls of vegetables and fruits throughout the growing season. But how long does it take to achieve harvests like these? Dan has been gardening for over 50 years, and his dedication shows. He's earned multiple world records, including titles for the heaviest tomato and the heaviest eggplant. His garden is the result of a lifelong passion for growing healthy, nutrient-rich food. Like any craft, gardening is a continuous process of learning and adaptation. Lifelong experience helps, but the basics can be picked up surprisingly quickly. Most experts agree that beginners need just 1 to 2 growing seasons, roughly a year or 2, to grasp the fundamentals. A study from the Iowa State University Extension found that gardeners typically improve their yields over 2 to 3 seasons as they gain hands-on experience with soil, pests, and timing. Across the country in the southern desert of Arizona, Kara grows a remarkably diverse range of crops, despite living in one of the driest, most challenging regions in the U.S. On her YouTube channel, Sow Arizona, She documents how she transformed a dead, sun-baked patch of land into a thriving garden in only 1 year. A biologist and certified master gardener, Kara also grew up in her father's vegetable garden. She now shares her knowledge with clarity, depth, and an inspiring love for research. These gardeners show that starting a garden can happen quickly, but achieving abundant, reliable harvests takes time and learning. Most university extensions recommend seeking advice from local experts to avoid misleading tips that may not suit your climate. In addition, carefully selected YouTube channels can be incredibly helpful, offering practical visual examples, proven techniques, troubleshooting guidance, and plenty of inspiration from passionate gardeners working in real-world conditions. So what is the secret behind these abundant harvests? Our exploration reveals that it's not about having a bigger garden or perfect conditions. The real secret lies in the passion, persistence, and hands-on knowledge of these gardeners. But behind their experience, there's something even deeper. Gardening is about more than growing food. It's about creating a wealth of beauty, health, resilience, and joy for you and people around you. It connects us to nature, to each other, and to a deeper sense of purpose. There's still so much more to learn by exploring their garden stories. They've reached such a level of authenticity that what they share has the power to truly change a life. To learn more, follow these incredible gardeners directly on their YouTube channels: Organic Gardening, Homesteading and Woodworking with Dan and Luke, GroLeafy with Alethea, The Garden Family with Peter and Hilary, Sow Arizona with Kara. We've linked all of their channels below in the description. Let their gardens inspire your own gardening journey. Because no matter where you live or what you currently do in life, learning more about gardening might just change everything. This documentary was brought to you by Gardens for Good, a non-profit organization dedicated to helping Alzheimer's patients enjoy their own vegetable gardens and to raising global awareness about the powerful benefits of gardening on physical and mental health. You can be part of this movement by turning your lawn into a thriving garden for your family, or by volunteering to grow one for your community. With nothing but care and kindness, you can create a source of food, beauty, and joy that grows far beyond the garden itself. If this story inspired you, please like, subscribe, and share. Together, we can grow more gardens and more good around the world.